What's up, everybody? How's it going, guys? Let me turn up my own audio. Maybe. What's going on, Chris? How's it going? Green Frog, what's up? So guys, what we're going to be working on today is going to be a little bit of this stuff here. Finally got in the brushless stuff to put the mini T back through. I know you guys may have seen the live stream the other day. I took a bunch of the stuff out of the mini T to put in the mini B so I could run it at the track. But finally got that stuff in. We got the Dynamite 6000 kV brushless motor ESC combo. That's going to be going in there. I got another set of tires for the low seat, the mini T also. Got those. A new body for it, which I'm not going to take this one out in the cold because I break them in 2 seconds. This might actually turn into what, a shelf queen body that might just stay in the car. And the transmitter receiver, because the brushed motors that come in the Mini B do not have a separate receiver. They are an ESC receiver combo. So I had to order this separately. This was only like 25 bucks. I think all told I have somewhere around $85 in basically completely converting the Mini B brushless. But first what we're going to work on is I had the Typhon 6S and the Mini B up at the racetrack the other day. What's up, Island Duke? Brad J, what's up, buddy? But I had the Mini B, if I can get this straight again. The Typhon 6S and the Mini B up at the indoor track the other day. I got a little bit of video footage up there of both the cars, so we'll be posting those up here shortly. But I ended up needing a low C8 head-on off of the triple up there, and I bent my shock shaft. So I'm going to be working on the Typhon 6S, and then we're going to be converting the Mini T over to full brushless with all of this good stuff. So that's kind of the lineup for today and what we're going to have some fun with. Also, guys, we added another camera. So now that whenever we get a car fixed up, and if it's too nasty outside to be able to show you guys, we now have the garage cam. So now we can kind of test it out, play around in the garage here. I might even try to build some little jumps I can put in here just to mess around on the colder times of the month. But add another camera in here to have a little fun, to test them out. So that should be fun. But that's some of the new stuff. Everybody seeing and hearing everything okay out there? What's up, Isaac? No, I do not. I'm good on that. Alright, well, at any rate, we're going to get this thing taken care of first, I think. Get all the low C stuff out of the way for the time being. Bring this stuff back out again here shortly. But yeah, bring the other camera over here. But yeah, this, I believe it's this side, yeah. This shock is completely sticking whenever it compresses the whole way, as you can see there. It is not coming back down. Got a nice chunk of plastic missing out of the shock cap protectors also. So, bent this shock, but the low C I went head on with kind of won that war a little bit. But I had a really good time up there. Had a lot of fun up at the track again. This thing definitely ran great, performed awesome. I am going to go with a little bit heavier shock oil in the front up there. The back was pretty good, but the front was a little too soft for the track, it seemed like. But, oh wow, I just noticed I bent the shock tower too. I didn't even notice that night, but this side is kinked in quite a bit. So I might have to pull that off and try to bang that straight also, I guess, because she is bent pretty decent. Not sure how well that would show up there, but the shock tower is bent. So I'm going to pull both the shocks off this thing and get working on this thing first. I gotta find some of my tools because I had some stuff packed up for the track the other day. Yeah, Island. I got the Mini B has the brushless setup in it now, and after running that thing up there that night, that thing it ran pretty good. Honestly, I had a hard time controlling it. A lot of issues I have, and you see in the video, they had just got done watering the track, and it was quite slippery. So the tires that were on the Mini B and stuff, I was having some traction issues, but the thing flew and was jumping really nice. Really nice and controllable in the air with that power. It was easy to correct. It was really nice. It jumped and flew a lot nicer than I even thought it was going to. Try to run 45 in the front, 40 in the back. What's up, Guy and a Moose? How's it going, buddy? Yeah, the gearing on that, I still have that weird gearing that was kind of on the car. I thought it was going to be geared a little too high at first, but after running it up there at the track for the evening, it honestly ran pretty decent. It had plenty of power, quickly out of the turns, and to launch off jumps. It had pretty decent spunk to it. So I'm still fighting with trying to get another pinion gear to fit on there properly, because trying to get the motor to line up with different. Wow, she had been even worse than I first thought. How well that's showing up there, but she's got a nice little tweak to it. But, alright, well, I guess I'm going to have to pull this front shock tower off of this thing because it's a little too bent to even really be able to run it like that. I have a feeling I have nothing but issues. You guys able to see, because I'm not able to really see that well, but the little 2 box down in the corner, able to see kind of the rest of the stuff going on besides the bench camera, okay? It's kind of a trial run the first time with the added camera and the extra little picture windows. It'll help with preload and landing on the jumps. Yeah, I definitely have a little bit more learning to do with the track life with setup. You have no idea how much tuning goes into some of those cars and all that stuff. So I'm learning a little bit at a time. The big thing I want to do is actually get, a track car. Really looking at some of the low-seas, really seem to enjoy them so far, at least even the minis. So I'm thinking about trying one of those. I knew I was just going to lose those washers. I should have just pulled them out to start with. Where'd the other one go? There it is. So they're not even the same size washers, or the shims. This side, the passenger side, had a thick one and a thin one. The other side had 2 kind of medium-sized ones. Well, I'm going to have to bust out the old hammer, but I'm going to have to pull that shock rod off of there first before I go beating on it. Yeah, I was going to do a little wrenching today. I figured I'd bring you guys along. Anybody interested in watching this stuff get fixed and get the Mini T back brushless now? That thing, the Mini T, honestly, was kind of, it's a lot of fun, don't get me wrong. It's slightly overpowered on brushless. I mean, that thing is nuts. It's definitely got a little to control. But the thing is a blast. I've had so much fun with that thing, taking it with me on the road, messing around with it in hotels and all that stuff. The thing is held up pretty good. Broke a few little parts on it here and there. I broke the one of the A-arms on it. And I keep breaking the aluminum little steering bell cranks on those things. I've been looking around to try and find an aluminum version, but it doesn't seem like anybody has any in stock at the moment. But I guess I'm going to beat on my wall here and try to straighten this thing out a little bit. Try to find a good spot. Get it a little bit straight. Get it a little bit straighter at least. Actually straightened up pretty decent. Well, kind of. Still got a little bit of a bend there. Which is going to be part of the problem because not only the top is bent, but the bottom is bent also. Gonna have to get a different mount for it, I think. But it's definitely a lot better. So we will go with this. It's a little straighter. Not perfect by any means, but it should work for now. Alright, I'll get that back on there. Said I'm going to have to order in a new shock tower for this thing because I didn't even notice until just now that it was even bent. I thought it just bent the shock shaft. Get these in there part way. Oh no. Well guys, I'm finding more and more damage as I'm going along here. It appears I have busted. Oh yeah. Wow, I guess I should have looked this over a little closer. Not sure if you guys can see that or not, but I've actually broken the bulkhead, busted a screw out there, and the whole top of it is split there. So I'm going to have to get a new one of those. So I might as well just order a shock tower at the same time. So I guess I'm not going to get this thing fixed today. I just glanced at it really quick. Thought I just bent the shock shaft, but here there's a little more damage than I first thought. Well, that's unfortunate. I would have ordered the parts if I had known that. Well, the Typhon 6S is down. Well, I guess I'll bag up the parts and set this thing aside and we'll get started on the Losi. Because there's not too much I can do with this at the moment. I got the shock shaft, but that's the least of the problems at the moment. So I'm not even going to bother working on that because I'll just do it all at the same time. But ended up busted the top of the bulkhead. Make sure there's nothing else. I tagged that car pretty good. Even worse than I thought though, apparently. So yeah, both sides of the bulkhead are split. It's split on this side also. So I gotta get that. There's pieces of it laying down in here, stuck between the A-arm and the bulkhead. Alright, well, I got more parts to order. Jeez, oh man. Alright, well, not a big deal. Just unfortunate I don't have the parts. Have to take a look around because I know I don't have a shock tower no matter what. And the bulkhead on this thing. Yeah. Well, that stuff happens. What's up, Tegrity RC? How's it going? Deboost backflips in stock. Yeah, those have been a little harder to come by because many people I know have been, had the copperheads that came with the cars, on many of the 6S line. And I don't know if everybody else has had the same problem I've had with these copperheads really quickly becoming unbalanced and just terrible. So I've been slowly putting the D-boots on all of my 6S cars just because they hold up better. Definitely give you a lot more control. So I haven't seen too many of them around, and I think a lot of people have been switching them over from the copperheads too. What's up, Lyndon RC? How's it going? We were trying to fix the Typhon 6S, but found multiple more parts broken than I first thought. So I'll be getting online and ordering some more stuff for that. But now we're going to get working on this thing. As you guys can see, yeah, the body didn't last too long that I painted for this poor thing. I really like the look of the white body too, but it shattered in the first 5 seconds I had it outside. So that didn't hold up very long. Now we're going to get going with all this stuff. Now I got to find my parts tray that had all this stuff in there. So I got all my screws and the motor cover and all that good stuff in there. Alright, well, I guess I might as well get started with the motor first. Get this thing torn out of here. I had a lot of fun with the Mini B though. They're fun little cars. I was amazed on how well that thing actually handled. With that brushless setup in there, it actually had really good throttle control. I was able to correct it nicely in the air. It was a good time. Hoping, we're going to try to go out. I don't know if Isaac's still in here. Yes, he is. Maybe I should have gone to the hobby store, but I know they don't even have any parts for this thing down there. I already was asking him down there. But me and Isaac here in the chat are planning on going to the new skate park here on Sunday. Going to take the new X-Max out for its first proper rip. Kind of excited to take that thing out and see how it holds up. My Hammer Story has some D-boots. You know, an 800 milliamp 50C battery for the Mini T. Oh wow! Yeah, I bet that thing would rip on the 50C on that thing. Because I think the ones I have are all this battery. This is a 20C, and I think the one in the Mini B here, if I can get this little cutter key out of it. Really weird how the body fits around that motor. But yeah, this is a 50C. Okay, so the Mini B does have the 50C in it. And that's what I was running in it. And that thing ripped pretty good. And the Mini B now has the brushless setup in it, so I didn't think this had a 50C in it, but it does. But yeah, this thing ran really good. I wasn't sure how much throttle control you'd have with that thing, but it honestly, you know, you were able to correct it pretty easily in the air. I was pretty impressed with it. Now, hopefully, this time I don't have to fight a whole bunch with the lineup of the gear mesh. Because on the Mini B, any of you guys that watched that, that was a good time. Or not so much. I have the gear right here. So, let's find my screws for the motor here. Let's see if we can get this thing lined up the first time. Maybe, possibly. Maybe I'll be living right today. Well, the trick is always getting the top holes and the bottom holes lined up in the right spot. And I think I actually may have hit the right one the first time. Now if I could just get that to... I don't feel like that's the right... No, it needs to go the next hole up. I thought it did. But actually that's not going to work because it's too close to the spur gear, I believe. Here we go again. No, I don't have a Techno. Really thought about... I'm right now torn between different cars that I want to get, especially as a race car. You know, something just specifically for the track. Definitely looking around at different things. Don't have a lot of experience in the racetrack stuff just yet, so I'm kind of definitely learning. But everybody tells me, Low C and Techno are two of the ones that a lot of people run. But then I hear a lot of people saying to go Techno because Technicos are easier to work on and easier to tune. Now, I don't know because never had either one of them as far as an actual legit race car, but does this thing have a flat spot on the pinion? It doesn't. I think I may have actually hit it, but I'm not going to hold my breath just yet. I did. All right. So that was far less fighting than I did the first time. Give these a good crank down. You're building one. Yeah. Definitely enjoying the track stuff. It's a lot of fun. Definitely a different, a whole different, set of people and stuff, I've been talking with, the racing world versus the bashing world. But I enjoy the track. It's been a lot of fun. Like I said, I had both of the... Feels pretty good. Just a tiny... Alright, well, one piece down. The motor's in. That's promising. Good, get this cover back on now. But yeah, I don't know if any of you guys out there have, you guys do racing or have more experience between the the Low C or the Techno and what the benefits are of either one of them. Like I said, I don't really know. I'd like to learn, I'm definitely trying to learn some more about them. But first thing everybody tells me is get a Techno because they're easier to tune and easier to work on. But then I have another group of people telling me that no, that used to be what Low C was harder to work on and they're hard to deal, but their new stuff is totally different. So I don't really know. Alright, well, now you figure out where to mount. I guess I could put the receiver right back up here because the battery, might as well get the battery in there and make sure that everything's going to fit up. I know everything will fit. It was already brushless. It's just kind of getting everything back in there the way it was. If I can get these to line up. What's fighting me here? What's stopping? The battery's got to slide backwards more. What's up, Bobby's RC? Just working on a couple cars here. The Typhon 6S repair got cut a little short due to more breakage than anticipated. Found more stuff broken than I first thought. What are you guys doing out there? Is anybody else out there bashing today, having some fun? Or is everybody else dealing with the same thing I am in cold and snow? Yeah, you know what, guy knows, that's something else that they told me. You know, building, you know, some of those kits from the ground up is a lot of fun, and they've really enjoyed it. So that was some of the most favorite part of doing, you know, some of the race cars is actually putting them together and kind of setting them up how you like them. And that's definitely another reason I want to get one. I like to build something like that. I think it'd be kind of fun. So, the transmitter receiver I got here, basically the exact same thing as that comes with the Losi cars. They're made by Turbo Racing. They're a little 3-channel transmitter receiver kit. Like I said, I think they were like, I think it was $22, $24, somewhere right around there. And give you everything you need. That's not too bad. It's raining in Cali. Well, I don't know what's worse. I think I'd rather have the rain right now than the snow. It's like 25 degrees outside, probably even colder with the wind. And it ain't snowing at the moment, but it has been quite a bit. Just will chuck some batteries in this thing. Yeah, these little controllers, honestly, I don't hate them. They're not terrible. I mean, one thing I noticed about the Mini B up there at the track the other day was how responsive the steering is on that car. I thought this thing, you know, was really responsive on the steering. That Mini B, man, that thing will steer on a dime. It was insane. I couldn't believe how well that thing steered. It took me actually a little bit of time just to get used to that, because I wasn't used to such responsive steering. But these had the little knobby tires on it, and I got a set of more little track tires for that thing, for the back of this thing. Plus the knobbies, I mean, they're not totally worn. I'll keep them around, but they got a decent amount of wear from spinning at the hotel last week. Was down there doing burnouts for a little while. Well, this could be an issue. I don't think I have a female-to-female coupler. The servo's got a male, and both of these, I don't think I have a male-to-male coupler. I'm just running into all kinds of problems one after another today. I might have to build me something. Because yeah, the motor comes with the female plug and the servo has the female plug, and I have no way to put it together. I don't know if this Mini B had it on there. See, this one has a tiny little jumper from the receiver. Oh, guys, I'm being an idiot. Jeez, oh man. Just ignore everything I just said. So, yeah. Anyway, I gotta plug everything into the receiver. I don't know why the heck I was too much thinking of the Mini B earlier. So I think I'm gonna put down some, this stuff isn't very sticky anymore. So maybe I'll use some Velcro, because this stuff has kind of gotten pretty well tacked up. It's not really that sticky anymore, and I don't have the receiver flying around. So I think I'm going to try and get this stuff off of here and put down some Velcro on this thing, if this stuff will come off. I don't have any of this double-sided foam tape stuff, so the Velcro usually works pretty decent. Just trying to get this off as much of one piece as I can, so I'm not having to scrape everything like crazy. And most of it came off. Yeah. There we go. Now I just need to get me some Velcro. Well, that's GoPro parts. Try this. Check out, guys, we can light up the cars different colors. We can make it red and green, blue, or multicolor. Forget where it does here. We'll roll through them. Trying to get a little bit of lighting on the cars back there. I realized it was kind of dark and was playing around with some lights. At least that added a little bit of something. You know, Bobby, that is something I have tried to fly a few times now. Our planes, and I have terrible luck with planes. I really want to learn to fly them, and I think I'd enjoy it, but I'm tired of crashing. Every time I go down to my local hobby shop, I try playing around with the simulator here and there, and trying to learn, because they seem like they'd be fun, but I've just never been able to fly the things. I just never seem to have a knack for it. Guess maybe just need some new... What's going on, Bruno? See? Remember the lights we talked about? Yep. Any of you guys that don't know, Joseph Bruno in here is my amazing co-worker at work. But yeah, Bruno, we finally got some lighting, at least a little bit on the cars. I think it helps a little bit. So Bruno, I'll show you through this real quick. Sorry guys, I know some of you guys have already seen this. So we have this shot. We have the bench shot now with the little box. And then now we have our garage cam to be able to test out and play with cars out here, which is kind of cool. I want to set up some sort of little jumps or something out in here to kind of mess around with. It could be kind of fun on nasty weather days. Alright, now try and get this thing cut down to fit up on here. Got to trim this Velcro back just a tiny bit so it doesn't stick to the battery too. Not the prettiest, but it'll work. Yeah, the planes have been, I always look at so many of the different planes down at the hobby shops, and they look like so much fun. And I see people fly them, and they make it look so easy, and yet I just can have, I've gotten to try a couple different ones, and I think I bought ones that were kind of out of my experience league. I don't know if I can even find it. I have one up here, it's a little foam jet. Where'd it go? This little thing. I also got just a little foam jet. It was kind of fun. I had it airborne for like maybe 5 minutes. It still does kind of fly, but as you can see, it's missing a piece. I busted the nose off of it. But I think I need to start with something slower and something I can control a little easier. Alright, one thing I want to make sure is with all this on here, that this is actually going to fit. Clearances are going to fit with the body. It looks like there shouldn't be any clearance problems with the receiver there. This receiver is just a tiny, tiny bit taller than the stock one. Now where does channel 1 start at? I think down here. Now see, that's a problem. Wondering how I can mount this thing differently then. Because as you can see, the servo wire is so short, I can't even reach the receiver. Man, that wire they put on this thing is super short. I don't know if down here on, well, the Velcro's stuck good, that's for sure. I don't know if mounting it down here, or I have to mount it on end. But the only ways this thing would work, and I don't see it really working that way too well. I don't know if down here in the servo is really that good of an idea. It seems like it's going to take an awful lot of shock, but I think there's the only two places it would fit. man, there's not a lot of room in this thing at all. What's weird is there must have been an extension on this thing or something. Maybe I'll see, because I really want to mount it up here. It would definitely be the best place for it. I do have some extension cables, at least I did. If I can find them. To maybe just make a little extension cable for it. Because I want to keep it up there. Yeah, see, I have one of these. I could just cut this and solder a longer one on and mount it up here. I think that's probably what I'm going to do, because I really don't want to mount that thing down here on the servo. At least up here it's got a little bit of place to absorb some impacts and stuff like that, where mounting it down there on the servo I think is just going to be a bad idea. And it's barely long enough there. I think I pulled off an extension on the when I moved it over to the Mini B, and I didn't even realize that that was actually an extension on there. I think is what's going on. So I'm going to have to do that, I believe. Because, at least if I keep it up here, it's out of the way, everything fits nicely. There's no problems with clearances. So, I guess it's time to bust out the soldering iron. Fun times. But, I'd rather do that than mount it up there and then start having issues with the receiver getting pounded on and having problems with that thing. So we're going to go that route, guys. We're going to mount a couple wires, a couple pieces of shrink tube. Get this stuff out of the road for a moment. Get the iron plugged in. We'll bring you guys over the other camera here until we get this set up. You can see my fine soldering skills. Alright. Some shrink tubing. I think I have a lighter, so I don't need that. And some solder. Alright. Now we'll get to cutting. So, I bring this. I don't need to add that much, but about, I think right about that much would be pretty good. At least allow a little bit of flexibility. I don't know why that servo wire is so short. They didn't give you a whole lot of room to work with that thing at all. We can fix that. So, we'll snip this one off. The fun part's going to be trying to strip these wires on this thing with not having much space to work with. Try and get these things stripped back. Yeah. Gotta grab a hold just the insulation. We got 2 or 3. This red one keeps fighting me. Maybe. You would think with working in electronics all my life, I'd be a little better stripping a wire right now. There we go, just had to heat it up. All right, there we go. All right, we'll get these stripped back here. Probably put the heat shrink on this side. Man, these things do not like to strip the coating on this. It's definitely fighting me. Kind of give it a little score the whole way around. Seems to work a little better. All right. Now that we got those shrunk back, what do I do with my solder? Give these things a quick tinning. Sorry, concentrating. But yeah, I didn't want to try to mount that servo or mount the receiver in a weird spot and then have a couple quick moments of doing this will make it a little easier, I think. Gonna get a few pieces of shrink tube now. Seems a little bit long. We'll go with that. All right, now, this is always the fun part, trying to get each piece of tubing down in there first. What did I just do with that connector? Sorry, missing pieces now. What the heck did I just do with that? All right. Brown to the black. Red to the red. Get the shrink tubing on there first. This thing really doesn't run too much outdoors, and I'm not going to be taking it in the rain and stuff, so I'm not super concerned about the waterproofing on this thing, but I'm going to heat shrink it. And we got the white to the orange. All right. Now we got all those soldered up. Drop the heat shrink down. I do have a heat gun, but a lighter works easier and quicker. All right. There we go. That'll work. We're going to go with that. Crashes, but seen. Sorry, I'm going to keep up with the comments here. What's going on? Yeah, crashes. I know everybody always loves to see a good crash, and so do I. It's just always a bummer whenever the crash is your plane that you just bought and within having it for, 10 minutes, nose it right into the ground. That part isn't so much fun, but it's fun for everybody else, I know. Now the only other place I gotta figure out what I'm gonna mount is this on-off switch. I think this is where the on-off switch originally was. Now maybe I will mount the on-off switch down here on the servo, because it could it would work down here. I don't really pull the battery out of this thing too much, because I probably just continue to run the 20C in this car, since it's lighter, it doesn't need quite as much power. So I think I'll just go with that. But I guess before I get too crazy, should plug this thing in and make sure everything actually works. We'll do that. Maybe you guys will get to see some smoke fly or something. Oh, I plugged the servos in backwards. Of course I did. Wasn't paying attention. I got no throttle. Try this again. I thought this transmitter was bound, but it might not be. It seems like it is. Steering works. Just no throttle. So I'll probably have to pull out the manual here and do a little reading and figure out how you set your endpoints on this thing, because obviously they're not set. Setting the throttle, this thing actually up to this thing. Now, you'd think that the transmitter would already be set, but that was a silly thing to think. I would assume, so I have it channel 2, I would think it's got to be on there. Yeah, I have a feeling this thing just isn't set up. Yep, channel 2 is not actually set or something. So, mount this thing down and pull out the manual. I think I got it here somewhere for this transmitter. Chief Sirs, yeah, they're not too bad. Just get something with an adjustable temperature on the soldering irons, because some of those ones that are just a straight plug-in style irons that do not adjust the temperatures, they get really, really hot, and then you'll just end up melting your wires and just having nothing but headaches with it. So I would definitely suggest just something that has an adjustable temperature range on it, so it doesn't get too blazing hot. So, battery installation, receiver installation, operation. Let's see. Lovely manuals. You can see most of it's written in other languages. I'm trying to see if there's anything where it says here for the actual binding process. Pairing the transmitter and receiver. Turn on the receiver power, press the switch. The receiver LED should start flashing. Turn on the transmitter. When the LED in the receiver becomes a solid, the binding process is complete. Okay? So we turn that off. Turn the transmitter off. Turn this on. There's a little switch down here on the receiver. Just hold the switch down. See, it doesn't seem like this is really the problem. Radio installer RTR already have been bound. No, radio systems installer and RTR has already been bound. Only when installing a new transmitter receiver is the above process necessary. So that's great, but obviously the throttle doesn't work on it. It's bound, but there is no throttle whatsoever. Steering works. there's no throttle. Any ideas, guys? Well, I'm going to see if this thing is like... the other ones. Full reverse. There it goes. It just wasn't, the endpoints weren't set. Yeah, you do the same exact one as like any other ARMA. You know, you hold down the switch on the power button here, turn it on, set your neutral, hit it again, go full throttle, hit the button again, and so on. Sounds pretty good. Steering works. Front works. I'm going to tear apart and check these clutch in this thing at some point. I don't know if you guys can hear that on camera, but something in the rear end recently started making just a tiny bit of a clicking noise, and I don't know what it is. It's not real bad. It's not really clicking. It's kind of more, I don't know. You know, I almost thought first it was something to do with the gear mesh, but it's not. It's definitely something in the rear end, it sounds like. You kind of hear it and feel it back there. So I'll have to take a look at that and find out at some point, but got the car working. Yeah, doing connectors, that's the thing. If you get a, sorry if I'm kind of catching up on the comments here, but yeah, I mean with the adjustable irons, you know, you can go with the, you can crank it down, you know, halfway or whatever it is, to be able to do your fine tiny wires like these on servos, and then you can crank it up to do your XT90s or IC5s or whatever connectors you're doing. But I'm just saying I wouldn't suggest just one of those type of irons that are, you know, just a straight plug-in, you know, that have a plug in the iron. These ones tend to get very hot if they're just a straight plug-in style irons. They're usually for soldering some really heavy stuff. But okay, so now that we got this thing working, we can play around with the, test it out here and see how she works. Soldering stuff back in there. I guess first, before I get too overzealous, we will work on mounting, which isn't too earth-shattering here, but mount up our on-off switch actually here. And this plug, I think I'm going to zip tie it to that so that it stays with the power plug, because it kind of just keeps drifting around on its own. Sounds like it needs lube. It might. That's what I'm wondering, if the rear end of this thing needs some. I'm going to pop it open here at some point. I don't know if I'm going to do it today, but it does sound like it just sounds like it's kind of, might be a little on the dry side. It may have leaked out. I noticed on this one side here too. Probably can't see it on camera, but I am noticing some wetness going on down here on this side of the differential cup. So I have a feeling that might be why it sounds dry. It's probably leaked whatever it had in there out of that side. Would be my bet. Alright, I'm going to grab some more Velcro. So we can mount up that switch, and then got to fight with these tiny little screws on this body. I don't know if any of you have tried mounting these wings to these bodies, but that little screw, the nut that you got to get up inside of here, every time I've tried to do it, it's an absolute nightmare to get in there. It's going to turn into the motor mesh process all over again. Oh, I got a little piece of Velcro here I think that'll work good for the switch. I haven't popped the rear end open on this thing yet. Even look at the differential. I should have, but I just kind of got this thing and just started running it and playing with it. And, yeah, it doesn't run that much. So, probably part of the reason why I didn't think it was that big of a deal at the time, but I do need to open it up and find out what's dry. So I definitely think you're right. I think it's just in need of lube somewhere. I mean, it's pretty easy to work on now. From what I've torn apart, I've ripped apart the front, and obviously I've ripped apart every single part of this car except the rear end so far. But I need to pop that thing open here and make sure it's got some fluid in there. Yeah, I do have the Mini B also, Kurt. This one right here. This thing I had up, first time I ran it, had a blast with this thing up at the track. This one also had, put the brushless setup in this one. It's got the 6,000 kV brushless motor in here with a little 2S 50C LiPo. And, I mean, this thing steers on a dime. I could not believe how well this little car handled. A lot of fun, a lot of fun. But the whole brushless setup fit really nicely in here because you had this extra chassis space and everything fit in here perfectly. A nice little lineup. Got the power switch, the receiver, everything laid out nicely. This one with the shorter wheelbase, obviously, you know, made it a little bit tougher. But these tires I had on here didn't work very well on the track, though. They kind of packed up. As you can see, the front still got dried up clay stuff, packed in them. But thing jumped nice. Put up with, I was launching it backwards off of a couple of the bigger jumps. You guys will see in the video in a couple days. But I was launching this thing pretty good off of some of the jumps. I mean, it just never had any problems with it. Thing held up great. Thing was a blast. Do I like it better than the Mini T? Or, you know, I think jumping wise, yes, the Mini B flies nicer. It's just like any of the cars. You know, all the cars that I have, come on, switch. You know, it's just like the same difference between the Outcast 6S and the Kraton 6S. You know, both of them kind of have their pluses and minuses. You know, this thing handles great. It's great for doing backflips and jumps. But I like the Kraton 6S better for jumping because it's a little more stable. You've got that longer wheelbase. You can it's a little more controllable in the air. So I kind of like the longer wheelbase cars better. It's just a personal preference. I love the Outcast, but a lot more touchier in the air, you know, with correcting it. Once you get good with it, you know, it's not a big deal, but I'm just kind of a little bit more of a fan of the longer wheelbase cars. I need a drink. I'm talking too much. All right. Get all those bits and pieces and parts out of here. All right. Got a piece of Velcro here on the power switch. If I can get this peeled off of here maybe. It's like it wants, it starts, but it doesn't want to come the whole way off. Come on. There we go. I think this will fit nicely. This I'll mount down here on top of the servo. I don't see too much of a problem with that, and it's smaller, so it's not going to, I think, get in the way of anything. I was kind of concerned about mounting the receiver down there, obviously, because it was really close to the servo saver, so I didn't really want to start having the receiver rubbing on that. But that should do it there. Kind of maybe zip tie those wires together here with a little zip tie, keep everything cleaned up as much as possible. These are always a must. Little zip tie assortments, always good to have. Anybody else working on anything today? Alright, so I'm going to put one right there, just got to keep the servo wires from drifting off. This should work out pretty good. I wasn't going to pull, the other reason I pulled the brushless setup out of this and put it in the Mini B at the time, because I wanted to run the Mini B at the track with the brushless. And I was impatient, kind of, but So I wanted to take this thing up there and run it that way. And it was a blast. But now we got the Mini T back to brushless again. Alright, well, slap the old broken shell on here momentarily. Yeah, everything fits in here nicely. What do I do with my pins? We'll just throw a couple pins in this thing real quick. It'll work. It's kind of nice about the power switch here too, because before it was up top, at least here you can reach it a little easier. Working on the Typhon 3S. God, I cannot wait till the snow goes away. So many places and things I want to do right now with running, especially with like the new X-Max and everything, and go running these things. But the weather outside is not very forgiving at the moment. All right, we can play around with the garage cam here. Test out the new. Now, what did I reverse? Now, what did I do? Never mind, guys. My steering is backwards. I'm not sure how to select or change it. There's a reverse button here, but it's I'm not sure how you can't actually just select directly. Throttle works normal. I'm not sure how you actually change the how you actually switch the steering. Well, that's weird. Alright, well I guess I'll look at the manual again here. You would think you would just hold it down. There we go. Kind of weird. You gotta let me adjust the trim. Alright, now we can go back to this. So you had to hold down the reverse button while steering. But this garage floor in here is really, as you can tell, it's a pretty smooth concrete, and these tires are very well on it all. Pretty much do more drifting than anything. Jeez, oh man. Well, she's running good. Seems to be running normal. Alright, well, we're going to throw the other tires on this thing. Get the other body set up, I guess, now. Yeah, she's moving along pretty good. Sorry guys, I'm thinking the stream may have frozen up for a second. How does it look out there? Is it okay to everybody else? Hopefully it's come back to normal. Alright. Yeah, I don't know what was going on there with the stream for a second. I noticed it on my computer. It was showing a bunch of lag and it was acting weird for a second. Hopefully it comes back to normal. Sorry about that, guys. It's a Saturday. Everybody's home using up all the internet. I've noticed it just doesn't look very smooth. Anyway. Yeah, I'm not sure. Looking to see if it looks normal. It seems like it's still kind of acting jittery. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. It's not showing any dropped frames either, which is kind of weird. But it's definitely not acting normal. Lovely YouTube being weird today. Well, we'll try to get through this. I'm going to change out the tires. Not going to keep everything too much longer, really. But sorry for the lagginess that's going on today, apparently. Not sure what that's about. But I'll keep these tires around. I might try these up on the track. I haven't... I'm going to try each tire and see which one I like better up there on the... You're messing around on the track. And have them around. But these I think are a little bit more... These are made more for smoother dirt. So, we'll see how they work out on there. Might even try a different set of front tires on this thing. So where is everybody from in here anyway? Well, some of you. Does anybody else out there have nice weather? That actually getting to go out and have fun today? Yeah, I don't know. YouTube, there's been a lot of weird stuff going on lately with, and it's not even, I've talked to a number of people that have been having the same issues. That, you know, after a certain period of time, they seem like they start restricting bandwidth or something. I don't know what it is, but they've had issues with, you know, link